This is a tutorial of how to monsterize yourself using Autodesk Sketchbook. Alright, starting off in Sketchbook, I have three separate layers. One is this photograph of me making a face. One is the background image of a vampire that I found, which I am now turning down the opacity of both of those two layers. And the third layer is where I'll do the drawing. So you do need to tap the plus button in order to get that third layer. Zooming in here gives you a view of the trace of my face using a pen tool on the left side. And if I zoom out, you can see the whole shot. Trace the background of the character from that layer. I'm hitting the eyeball on the layer to hide it so that I just have the drawing layer active. I'm going to select the first color, which I want this nice deep crimson red for the interior and collar of the cape. I'm just doing a regular paint bucket fill. Make sure when you fill, you zoom in to get the small sections like between the fingers. Sometimes the paint bucket will leak out if you don't have your lines connected, so you might have to go back and close any areas where paint is leaking out into areas you don't want it. For the rest of this section, I'm just selecting the color that I want and tapping where I want it filled in. Now, to get a little bit more advanced with our coloring, we're going to add some halftone dots. I'm selecting a slightly different color than my skin tone. I'm selecting a little bit darker, and I'll be trying to fill in areas with the dots. The best way to do this is to use the magic wand tool to select the area. This allows you to only fill in that area. So if you tap that wand tool and select the forehead in this case, and I'm also selecting where the pen was, I've replaced that with the magic wand halftone dot, and I'm coloring that in. Now I'm realizing that this skin tone looks a little dark, so I'm going to go back to my color selector. I'm going to select my forehead color, and I'm bringing it down just slightly different. And I'm going to paint that right on with my finger. So I need to go to my magic wand tool again, select a different area. This time it's my cheek. Making sure I have the halftone dots. In order to paint this in, you have to adjust the slider for the size before you start painting it. This is the biggest kind of technical issue I've found, is that I have it selected and then I'm not able to paint in that area, but if I go select the size, then I'm able to paint that in. So now I'm just moving throughout the image. I'm using the magic wand, select the area where I want to color, moving down on the size of the halftone dots, getting the right color, and painting that in. So the left side, I'm doing slightly darker on my face. When I move to the right side, I'm deciding to do a pale yellow so I can get a little bit of a highlight on the right side of my face. Again, with the halftone dots and using the magic wand tool to make sure I have the area selected where I want those dots to appear. I tried it out on the cape. I didn't like how this looked, so I got rid of this. Shirt color, slightly darker than the original color, making sure I filled in the areas where I needed to, and doing the same thing where I'm imagining the shadows would be. If you need to turn on your reference image for your original download costume, you'd have to hit the eyeball on the drawing layer and then unclick the eyeball on the photo layer so you can see exactly where the folds and wrinkles are. I'm using the same technique in the cape to find the dark shadow areas, again using the halftone dots, slightly darker than the original color, magic wand tool to select the area, and then painting that in. The final thing I'm going to do is add a background, so I can now delete the first two layers of my face and the original reference image. I can add a new layer, and I'm going to drag my drawing above that. You just have to tap and hold to make sure that it's above the new image. And you can find a background online, import that, stretch it to fill. And in my case, I noticed that this filled in a couple of the white areas, so I had to go in and fix a few things, the white parts of my eyes. So I'm tapping the color selector, choosing white. I have to draw on the background layer, making sure my opacity is all the way up for the color to appear. And now I'm drawing on the background layer, not the drawing layer. If I drew on the drawing layer, it would go over and make a mess of my drawing. So I'm making sure that I get that in the background.